My name is Eden Walsh, 32 years old, and in this family I've learned that silence is survival. I grip my water glass tighter, knuckles whitening as Marissa's words hang in the air between us. "So next week I'll be moving into your place," she says with a casual smile, as if she's talking about switching brands of cereal. The table tells the story before her mouth does. Mom's china gleams under the chandelier light, a set reserved for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Champagne chills in crystal flutes I've never seen before. Dad beams as he pops the cork, the spray catching the glass stemware like glitter. The seating chart itself is an omen, Marissa at the head, me to the side. I look around and see complicity written on every face. My parents exchange pleased glances, nodding like this has all been agreed upon. "To new beginnings," Dad declares, lifting his glass. Everyone follows, everyone except me. 3 days ago, I found the boxes stacked in the garage, labeled Marissa's winter clothes and Marissa's books. When I asked her, she brushed it off. "Temporary storage," she said, just until she found more space in her apartment. I should have known then. Marissa accepts her glass of champagne with a gracious nod, already moved in by implication. "It shouldn't take more than a day to get everything shifted," she adds, her tone breezy, entitled. I set my water down carefully. My hand drifts to my purse, fingertips brushing the manila envelope I debated leaving in the car. There is no right time in this family, only their time. My chest pounds, but my voice comes out steady. "Actually, I have news too." Mom's smile falters, eyes narrowing. Dad lowers his glass. "What kind of news?" she presses, warning laced in her tone. "Don't ruin this. Don't be difficult." Labels hover in the silence. Selfish, difficult, ungrateful. I've carried them my whole life. Marissa takes. I give. My parents enforce the transaction. Until now. I slide the envelope onto the table. Their eyes follow as I pull out the papers. "This," I say, "is the sale agreement for my house. I sold it last week. I have 30 days before I move." The room freezes. Marissa's champagne flute slips from her fingers, shattering across the hardwood. Dad's mouth opens and closes like a fish stranded on land. "You what?" Marissa whispers. The silence roars louder than the glass breaking. If you've ever faced the choice between saving yourself or staying the obedient child, stay with me. Because tonight I chose myself, and nothing will ever be the same. "You what?" Marissa whispers, her voice sharp and wounded. The shards of her champagne glass glitter across the hardwood like tiny knives. My father's jaw tightens, his shoulders squared as if sheer authority could undo my words. My mother leans forward, her eyes narrowing, scanning my face for weakness the way she always does. I keep my tone calm. I sold the house. Closing is in 30 days. For a moment, no one moves. Then the questions come like arrows. "You can cancel," Dad insists, waving his hand. "These things have cooling-off periods." "We already promised Marissa," Mom says, her voice full of urgency. "She needs you," Aunt Sarah adds from the far end. "We were going to move her things next Tuesday while you were at work. It would have been easier for everyone." Their plan was airtight, rehearsed, a conspiracy executed in broad daylight at my own expense. My chest burns. "You planned this without me?" No one answers directly. My father glares. My mother softens her voice. "I'm worried about you, Eden. Selling your house like this, it's impulsive. Are you feeling all right?" The implication cuts deeper than any accusation. If I don't comply, I must be unwell. Marissa's face crumples, tears sliding down her cheeks. "You did this to spite me. You knew I needed somewhere to stay, and you sold it just to hurt me." Her words hang in the silence. My pulse hammers in my ears. I could tell them about the roof replacement, the busted water line, the heating system failure. I could lay bare the nights I sat at my kitchen table with spreadsheets and panic attacks, but I don't. I already know the verdict. In this family, defending myself only furnishes them with new weapons. I made this decision for my own reasons, I say quietly, and it's final. The silence is suffocating, At last, Dorothy, sitting beside Aunt Sarah, leans close enough for me alone to hear. Her hand brushes mine under the table, a soft squeeze. "Good for you," she whispers. Just 3 words, barely audible, but they anchor me in the storm. The first call comes the next morning while I'm pouring coffee. The screen flashes. Aunt Sarah. I consider letting it ring, but habit wins. "Eden, honey," she begins, her voice solemn. "I just talked to your mother. Is it true you sold your house just to keep Marissa out?" Hot coffee sloshes over my fingers. "What? No. She called me last night in tears," Sarah presses. "She said you're making her homeless. I never thought you could be so cruel." I can't breathe. The mug rattles as I set it down. That's not what happened. But she's already filling the silence with disappointment. "Your sister will have nowhere to go. Family should come first." By lunchtime, the phone has rung 5 more times. Uncle Robert, Cousin Jennifer, even Dad's golf buddy, Chuck, who I barely know. Each call carries the same script. Marissa is desperate. I am heartless. They are ashamed. By dinner, I make the mistake of opening Facebook. Marissa's post gleams at the top of my feed. The hardest lesson in life is learning who truly has your back when times get tough. Family should be forever, not just when it's convenient. 27 comments bloom beneath it, all sympathy. Mom's name is among them. "We're here for you, sweetheart. Always." The words twist like a knife. My own mother, affirming Marissa's narrative for the world. I grip the knife in my hand too tightly, the blade crunching through carrots on my cutting board, pieces scattering across the counter like shrapnel. Thursday at work, Lisa from accounting leans over my cubicle wall. Her expression is careful, too careful. "I ran into your sister at Starbucks. She told me about the house. If you need help finding her temporary housing, my church has a program." My stomach drops. "What exactly did she tell you?" Lisa fidgets. "Just that you made a sudden decision, and now she's facing homelessness." She seemed really upset. The ache in my jaw tells me I'm clenching too hard. Marissa isn't homeless. She has an apartment, and if not, our parents' 4-bedroom house. Lisa blinks. "Oh, I didn't realize." She drifts away, but the humiliation lingers like smoke. I lock myself in the restroom stall, my hands trembling as I text Marissa, "Stop telling people I'm making you homeless. It's a lie, and you know it." Her reply pings instantly. "You're selling the house I was counting on. What would you call it?" The words burn hotter than boiling water. That night, I sit at my kitchen table surrounded by bills and repair invoices. The numbers blur, the columns collapsing into accusations. I trace the faded crease of my mortgage paperwork, remembering the pride of that day 9 years ago. The realtor snapping a photo of me with keys in hand, radiant and unguarded. Back then, the house symbolized independence. Now it feels like evidence in a trial I never agreed to. I punch new holes in my belt, tightening it to fit a body shrinking from stress. The mirror shows shadows beneath my eyes, a woman eroded by years of family first. Box by box, I pack the remnants of a life built alone. Vacation photos bubble-wrapped, books stacked in cardboard, every box labeled in blue marker, my handwriting shaky but determined. The phone buzzes again, another relative. I don't answer. I can't. Instead, I pull out the manila folder, sliding repair receipts into place. Roof replacement, $11,200. Water line, $8,200. Heating system, $5,000. 3 catastrophes in 6 months. 3 nails in the coffin of financial stability. I snap photos of each invoice, storing them alongside screenshots of texts, bank statements, withdrawal slips. A fortress of proof. One day they'll see the truth, even if I have to shove it under their noses. But tonight, as the phone buzzes and the Facebook feed explodes, all I feel is the weight of betrayal pressing me down. Family dinners, whispered phone calls, sympathetic comments, every piece of it orchestrated to cast me as the villain. I run my hands over the cardboard boxes stacked high against the wall, my entire life reduced to shapes and labels. In the silence of my half-packed house, the only sound is the faint ring of another call I refuse to answer. My sister's lie is spreading faster than I can keep up, and I know the next confrontation is coming. It always does. The next confrontation is coming. It always does. I can feel it like a storm front pressing against my windows, heavy and inevitable. That night, after ignoring the last round of buzzing calls, I spread everything across my dining room table: bank statements, property tax reminders, contractor invoices, 3 repair bills stacked in cruel sequence, the holy trinity of financial collapse: roof, water line, heating system, each one a scar on my savings account. I run my finger along the top page. Roof replacement, $11,200. 30-year shingles that lasted 22. No insurance coverage, just a check I could barely cash. The second, water line repair, $8,200. The city replaced the main line, leaving me with a corroded connection that snapped like bone. No payment plan, no sympathy. The third, heating system failure, $5,000. A June heat wave and a dead unit. The rebate covered less than a quarter. I lined them up in order like evidence in a trial, proof that my decision wasn't impulsive, proof that survival required sacrifice. Around me, the half-packed house feels cavernous, cardboard boxes stacked 3 high, blue marker labels blurring under dim light. Keep, donate, trash. Each box another piece of my life dismantled. I tape up 1 carton of books, the sound loud in the emptying room. It echoes like a gavel. Then, by Saturday afternoon, the doorbell rings. Through the front window, I spot the Buick in the driveway, Marissa's compact tucked behind it. They didn't call. They never do. When I open the door, my parents and sister file in like they own the deed. Mom's eyes land on the towers of boxes immediately. "You're really going through with this madness?" I don't invite them to sit. I turn back to the kitchen counter, wrapping another plate in newspaper, tape hissing. "The closing is in 3 weeks. "You've always been selfish, Eden," Mom says, her tone sharpening. "But this is beyond understanding. Your sister needs you." The plate in my hands remains steady. Something inside me doesn't. For years, I absorbed that mantra. Your sister needs you. It has been the chorus of my life. This time I let the silence stretch before I answer. Did anyone ever ask what I need? The words land like a crack in the foundation. Dad clears his throat, shifting uncomfortably. Be reasonable. I continue wrapping dishes. I need financial stability. I need to sleep at night without panic attacks. I need to not drain my retirement fund for endless repairs. My movements stay calm, deliberate. No refreshments offered, no performative politeness. I work while they stand awkwardly in my half-packed kitchen, as if the ground has shifted beneath them. Mom sputters. "We're your family." "Yes," I reply, "and I've never once asked you for money. Not for college, not for my first apartment, not for this house." The silence that follows is different this time, uncertain. They look at each other, searching for a script that no longer fits. Marissa stares at the floor. Dad studies the ceiling. For once, no one rushes to fill the void. When I reach for the next stack of plates, I notice my posture. Shoulders back, spine straight, eyes level. For years, I made myself smaller at moments like this. Not anymore. "Bestie. That evening, Dorothy shows up with Thai takeout and 2 bottles of wine. She sets the cartons on the coffee table, the smell of basil and coconut filling the room. She notices the files spread across my dining table. "You're building a case," she observes, wrapping a crystal vase in newspaper. "I'm building protection," I correct her. She smiles gently. Family patterns are the hardest to break, but sometimes breaking them is the only way forward. Her words steady me. Sunday brings more reinforcement. A text from Thomas. "Need help moving? Got a truck and a strong back." An email from Barbara, my financial advisor. "Your townhouse application is approved. Monthly payment 42% lower. Right decision for your security." Their support feels foreign, but grounding. People who ask what I need rather than tell me what to give. That night, I lay out every document in order: spreadsheets, invoices, bank statements, screenshots, my armor of paper, my truth, ready for cross-examination. Tuesday arrives. I knew it would. The doorbell rings at 7 sharp. When I open it, they're all there. My parents, Marissa, Aunt Sarah, Uncle Robert, even Cousin Jennifer, a family firing squad assembled for my correction. The hallway feels crowded, their faces a wall of judgment, but this time I'm not trembling. I've rehearsed this moment in silence for months. I lead them to the dining room, my dining room, where the manila folder waits at the head of the table. I take the chair that once felt too large, too authoritative. Tonight it feels right. Before anyone can speak, I press my palms to the folder. Before this conversation goes anywhere, you're going to see the truth. Their voices quiet. Eyes track my hands as I open the folder and begin laying out the papers, one by one. This is the roof replacement. I slide the $11,200 invoice to the center. Insurance covered nothing. I lay the next sheet on top. Waterline repair, $8,200, no payment plan. Then the third. Heating system, $5,000. My emergency fund gone. Each page lands like a hammer. My mother shifts in her chair, uncharacteristically silent. My father looks away. Dorothy sits near the window, giving me a near imperceptible nod of encouragement. Barbara flips open her notebook. Thomas folds his hands, waiting. My support team is present, even if my blood family refuses to acknowledge them. I look directly at my family, my voice steady. This isn't impulsive. This is survival. The room holds its breath. And that's when Marissa's chair scrapes against the hardwood. "This is creative accounting," she snaps. "You've always been good with numbers when it suits you. You're just trying to avoid your family responsibilities." Her words slice through the air, familiar as they are infuriating. Uncle Robert leans back, frowning. Aunt Sarah mutters something about duty. Jennifer crosses her arms. I know what comes next. Another round of accusations, another campaign to paint me as cruel. But before anyone else can pile on, Uncle William, who arrived late and now stands near the doorway, clears his throat. "Marissa, what's your employment situation these days? Last I heard, you were between jobs." The question stops her cold. For once, she has no script. "I'm exploring opportunities." Her vagueness hangs in the air, heavy and obvious. My mother leaps in to rescue her. "William, this isn't about jobs. Family duty exists regardless of finances." But the spell is broken. Their perfect script has a crack. I can feel it widening. I lean forward, stacking my papers with deliberate calm. This is my reality. You don't have to like it, but you can't deny it. The weight of my words settles across the table. Tomorrow night, I know, will be the real showdown. Tonight was only the prelude, the evidence display. Tomorrow they'll return, pushing harder, demanding compromise. They always do. I gather the papers back into the folder, my fingers firm and unshaking. The manila envelope no longer feels like a secret. It feels like a shield. And for the first time in years, I know exactly where I'll stand when they come back. Tomorrow night arrives faster than I expect. By 7 o'clock, headlights wash across my front windows, one after another, until my driveway looks like a used car lot. I take my place at the head of the dining table, the manila folder resting under my palm. When I open the door, the line of relatives looks like a tribunal. My parents in front, Marissa at their side, Aunt Sarah and Uncle Robert behind them, Cousin Jennifer clinging to her mother's arm. Dorothy sits quietly by the window, Barbara adjusts her blazer, and Thomas leans against the wall near the kitchen. My chosen support, outnumbered but steady. They file in without waiting for an invitation, as if my home is already theirs. Chairs scrape, voices overlap. Dad clears his throat, commanding silence. "Eden, this family needs clarity. You've made rash decisions before, but this..." I cut him off, sliding the first paper onto the table. "This is the roof replacement invoice, $11,200. The 30-year shingles didn't even last 22. The room quiets, paper on wood, crisp and undeniable. I add the second. Water line repair, $8,200. When the city updated the main line, my connection failed. No payment plan, no negotiation. Finally, the third. Heating system failure, $5,000. Insurance covered almost nothing. 3 pages in a row, each one a bruise I've carried alone. Barbara leans forward. These aren't optional upgrades. These are structural emergencies. I advised Eden to sell before she lost everything. Uncle Robert frowns, his hands folded tightly. That's a lot of money in 6 months, Marissa snaps. She's exaggerating. She's always dramatic with numbers. Convenient how she produces these now. She pushes her chair back slightly, her tone sharpening. Creative accounting, that's what this is. An excuse to abandon her family responsibilities. Her words ignite the room. Aunt Sarah nods, lips tight. Jennifer mutters, "So selfish." The tide is turning, just as I feared. My throat tightens. For a moment, it feels like all the paper armor I built will collapse under their voices. I picture myself once again cast as villain, the ungrateful daughter, the selfish sister. My pulse races. Then Uncle William, late as always, steps into the room and adjusts his glasses. "Marissa," he says slowly, "what's your employment situation these days? Last I heard, you were between jobs." The question hangs like smoke. Marissa blinks, mouth opening and closing. "I'm exploring opportunities. The market's difficult right now." He raises an eyebrow. "So Eden is selling her house and you're still exploring?" For the first time, Marissa has no quick retort. She shifts in her seat, cheeks blotched red. Mom jumps in, her voice sharp. "William, this isn't about employment. Family duty exists whether you're working or not. But the crack has formed. The script is broken." Dorothy speaks next, calm but firm. "I've known this family for 20 years. I've watched Eden handle everything alone. She bought this house without help. Meanwhile, I've seen Marissa get rent paid, car payments covered, credit cards bailed out." Barbara adds, "Financial dependence is corrosive. It drains the giver and stunts the receiver. If Eden continues rescuing, both of them lose." Thomas leans forward, his voice steady. "My brother lived with my parents until he was 42. They handled every problem for him. When they died, he lost everything because he never learned to manage on his own. Sometimes, love means stepping back." Their words fall into the space my family usually fills with accusations. This time, silence stretches. My father looks down at his hands. My mother's posture slumps, her eyes glassy, but not weaponized. For the first time, they are not in control of the narrative. Then, Marissa stands abruptly, her chair screeching against the hardwood. "This is ridiculous. You're all acting like I'm some kind of parasite. Eden has always been the golden child with her perfect house and perfect job, while everyone ignores how hard I've had it. No one rushes to defend her. Not this time." The slam of the front door echoes through the house as she storms out. The sound rattles the windows, reverberating through my chest. I sit frozen. For years, I dreamed of this moment, of truth spoken aloud, of silence after her tantrum. But now that it's here, it doesn't feel like victory. It feels like the air after lightning, sharp and dangerous, full of static. Uncle William breaks the hush. "Perhaps it's time for a family financial planning session. For everyone." His eyes flick toward my parents. My father nods slowly, rubbing his temple. My mother's tears fall silently, not the manipulative kind, but something heavier. Dorothy's hand finds mine under the table again. "You did it," she whispers. "Did I?" My stomach knots. Marissa is gone, furious, and I know she'll come back swinging harder. My parents are shaken, but shaking is not the same as changing. I gather the invoices back into the folder, stacking them neatly. My fingers should tremble, but they don't. For the first time, I feel solid at the head of this table. But deep inside, one question gnaws at me. Have I really broken the pattern, or just fractured it enough to trigger the next attack? As the last of the relatives file out into the night, their voices muted and uncertain, I stare at the empty chair Marissa left behind. The imprint of her anger lingers like smoke. I know she isn't done. And when she returns, it won't just be with tears and accusations. It will be with my parents at her side, demanding compromise, pressing me into a corner. I can already hear it in my head. Be reasonable, Eden. Just help her one more time. The thought makes my chest tighten. The battle isn't over. It's only shifting into its next form. I close the manila folder and press it flat with both hands. Tonight, I survived. Tomorrow, I'll need more than survival. Because the next time they walk through my door, they'll come with a plan. 3 days later, the knock comes again, right on schedule. I open the door to find my parents standing shoulder to shoulder, Marissa slightly behind them, eyes cast down. My mother clutches her purse so tightly the knuckles stand out. Dad wears his company smile, polite but strained. Eden, honey, Mom begins, stepping inside without waiting. We've been talking. We think we've found the perfect solution. A compromise, Dad adds quickly, as if the word might soothe me. Marissa trails after them, voice rehearsed. I really appreciate you hearing us out. They settle themselves on the couch, the only piece of furniture not wrapped for moving, while I remain standing. The imbalance is obvious. They're performing comfort. I'm asserting distance. Mom clears her throat. We know selling the house is your choice, but instead of moving Marissa in with you, what if you helped her get her own place? Just a loan to get her started. Dad nods enthusiastically. With your success, it would hardly affect you. Marissa sighs, soft and practiced. Some people just have bad luck, you know? Her eyes glisten. You've always been the lucky one. The implication hangs heavy. I'm successful, so I owe her. I walk to the dining table where documents wait in neat stacks. My voice is level. I'm meeting with my lender tomorrow. This is the pre-approval letter for a townhouse downtown. Monthly payment will be almost 40% less than my current mortgage. I place the letter in Dad's hands. His eyes widen as he scans the numbers. This, he clears his throat. This is significant. Exactly. Selling this house isn't about Marissa. It's about survival. About rebuilding after 3 major repairs drained my savings. It's about prioritizing my financial health. Mom leans forward, lowering her voice as if sharing a secret. Eden, the family has always stuck together. If you can't help your sister just this once. She trails off, letting the silence carry the threat. If I cut Marissa off, I cut myself off. I reach into my pocket and pull out a business card. I can't support her financially, but I can help her support herself. I extend the card toward Marissa. My department has an entry-level position opening next week. The salary covers rent on a 1-bedroom. HR is expecting your call. Her mouth opens, then shuts. Shock flickers across her face. I don't need your charity job, she mutters, but her voice lacks conviction. I set the card on the entryway table, not pushing. It's not charity, it's opportunity. Whether you take it is your choice. Dad shifts uncomfortably, moving toward the window. Eden, be reasonable. Marissa needs... No. My voice is sharp enough to stop him. I stride to the coffee table and pull out a thick folder. From inside, I slide a spreadsheet onto the table between us. This is what being reasonable looks like. The paper is filled with line items, rent payments, car payments, credit card bailouts. Every financial gift they've given Marissa in the last 5 years, each one recorded from overheard conversations. At the bottom, a total circled in red. Mom gasps. Dad's forehead creases as he reads. This isn't love, I say quietly. It's dependence. And it's hurting both of you. Dad opens his mouth to object, but the words don't come. His eyes remain fixed on the number in red. Mom whispers, we just wanted to help her. The best help, I reply, is teaching someone to stand on their own. You taught me that once, remember? When I wanted to quit college, you told me no. You insisted I find a tutor. You said, we're doing you no favors by making life too easy. The memory hangs between us, heavy with irony. The room fills with silence, broken only by the sound of tape, peeling from the half-packed boxes near the wall. Finally, Dad puts his arm around Mom's shoulders. We should go. They walk to the door. Mom avoids my eyes. Marissa lingers. Her gaze flicks to the business card resting on the table. She snatches it quickly, slipping it into her purse when she thinks I'm not watching. The door closes behind them. Their car starts. The house falls silent. For a moment, I stand frozen, surrounded by boxes and paperwork, the weight of the confrontation pressing against my chest. Then I exhale, long and steady. The answering machine light blinks red. 3 new messages. More relatives calling to weigh in, no doubt. I don't press play. Instead, I run my hand over the manila folder, feeling the texture of its surface, the tangible weight of my own boundaries. Tonight, I didn't just defend myself. I shifted the script. But deep inside, I know one truth. Battles like this don't end in a single night. The family dinner next month will come. The phone calls will continue. The ledger of expectations doesn't vanish in a day. Still, the sound of Marissa slipping that card into her purse lingers in my mind like a flicker of hope. Maybe, just maybe, the pattern has finally cracked. And if it has, the real question is whether I'm ready for what comes after. The real question is whether I'm ready for what comes after. 3 months later, I stand barefoot on the hardwood floor of my downtown townhouse, sunlight streaming through wide windows. The space feels open, uncluttered, alive with possibility. My mortgage payment is 30% less than the craftsman I left behind, and every month the green numbers in my budgeting app remind me I made the right choice. On the kitchen island sits my newest purchase, a professional-grade camera. In my old life, it would have been an indulgence, a wish pushed to someday. Now it represents something I'd nearly forgotten, permission to create, not just survive. Barbara checks in weekly, and for the first time, I don't dread the conversation. We talk savings goals, retirement contributions, even vacation plans. The panic attacks have quieted. My belt no longer carries new holes. My reflection looks less hollow, more whole. The phone buzzes with a reminder. Sunday dinner at my parents'. My shoulders tense automatically, then slowly release. I grab a bottle of wine and head out the door. Dad greets me with a hug that feels unforced. Eden, come see what your sister brought. In the dining room, Marissa arranges flowers in a vase, her movements tentative but focused. She looks up, smiling, and for the first time in years, her eyes meet mine without defensiveness. They gave me my first business cards today, she says, pulling one from her pocket. Assistant marketing coordinator. Mostly coffee runs, but I'm learning. She hands me the card like a trophy. I take it, surprised at the pride warming my chest. Mom appears in the doorway carrying a casserole. Her eyes move from Marissa to me, balanced, unweighted. Tell us more about the social media campaign you mentioned, she says to Marissa, then turns. And Eden, how was your photography class? For a moment, I forget to answer, stunned by the novelty of equal attention. We eat together, conversation flowing. Dad asks thoughtful questions. Mom listens without cutting me off. Marissa talks about learning Photoshop, and I share the thrill of capturing light in new ways. It feels fragile, like porcelain that might crack if handled wrong, but it's real. The following week, laughter fills my townhouse. Dorothy raises her glass. To homes that shelter us and boundaries that protect us. Around my coffee table sit Thomas, Barbara, Uncle William, and me, my chosen family, stitched together by choice rather than obligation. Dorothy hands me a frame, 2 photos side by side. One of me 9 years ago holding the keys to my first house, eyes wide with pride. The other, me now, keys to this townhouse in hand, face calmer, stronger. 2 brave beginnings, she says softly. 2 very different women, I answer, and I mean it. Saturday morning, Marissa sits at my kitchen table surrounded by spreadsheets. She chews her lip, calculator app open on her phone. So, if I put away 15% of each paycheck, I'll have first and last month's rent by January. She looks up, searching for reassurance. Our parents sit quietly on the couch, watching with a mix of pride and regret. Mom admits, "We should have done this years ago. We thought we were helping, but we hurt both of you in different ways." Dad nods slowly, the lines around his eyes deeper but softer. "We didn't see it, not really." I glance at Marissa, her brow furrowed in concentration. For the first time, she's not waiting for someone else to fix it. She's doing the math herself. The sight fills me with something unexpected. Hope. As I clear the table, I think about the line between helping and enabling. Love without boundaries becomes control. Boundaries without love become walls. The balance is fragile, but essential. Family doesn't mean endless sacrifice. It means teaching each other to stand, even if standing requires stumbling first. It means respecting no as much as yes. I've learned that protecting myself isn't betrayal. It's the foundation for healthier connection. And sometimes the most compassionate act is refusing to rescue. If you've ever been told that love means giving until you disappear, I want you to hear this. Saying no can be an act of love. Love for yourself. Love for the future of the people you've carried too long. That night, after everyone leaves, I stand at the window of my townhouse, city lights flickering beyond the glass. The silence feels different now. Not heavy, not hollow, but expansive. For the first time in my life, I'm not waiting for permission to exist. And if you've ever been caught in the same storm, torn between loyalty and survival, know that you're not alone. Tell me, what boundary are you ready to draw even if it scares you? Share it. Someone out there may need to see your courage to find their own.